Hi, this is Richard Urban with another Urban Grocery Delivery System how-to video. Today we're going to be going over how do you invoice and send receipts. We use those terms interchangeably, receipts and invoices, but how do you print the customer receipt and how do you get it to them? And this is a really nice part about the Urban Grocery Delivery System, since it's provided as software as a service, is that you can connect and do everything really online. So log into your back end of your Urban Grocery Delivery System and then go to Orders right here on Orders, and then pick the order you want to work on and view or enter current order, and you can also get the full screen width there. Okay, so this is an order for Bill Smith. Now, what I recommend doing is bring your computer, whether it be, for instance, a Chromebook is handy, something that has a decent battery life, is lightweight, or for that matter, you can use a tablet, a laptop, whatever you want, Surface, any kind of computer you want, really, as long as it can connect to internet. So hopefully your store has a wireless connection. If not, you could use a direct connection to your provider or something like that, or possibly even use your phone as a hotspot. But anyway, so we suggest filling the order online. Now, you don't have to. You can print out a printed list, but I'm going to go over the advantage of this. So if you're in the store, by default, it's set by the aisle order here, or you can click if you want to like reverse that order, like if you have a couple people working and they can work from opposite ends of the order, you can click on aisle. So then once we fill up the order, we'll just fill in the quantity, and we can save that, hit the save button, or you could click this little icon here to save changes. And also you can hit the F9 button on your keyboard if you have a function keyboard. So we'll go through, we'll do it as if we're, alright, let's say save, right, okay. So we can go through and fill these items, So as we're picking each item from the shelf, we'll go ahead, and fill the items. So let's just go on through. We'll assume, we're filling the items now. Now, if an item's not available over here, you could mark the quantity as 0, and then you could search for another item, for instance. You can use this box here, and if you have a scanner connected to your device, which you can generally plug into UPC, you could scan the UPC of another item, or you could search for another item. For instance, if something's out of stock, if we were looking for, say, peanut butter, then we could, search for that item right here. And then, pick out another item and click select, and that would be fill in the item here. Okay, so you can search for items as you're going along. For our purposes here today, let's just go ahead and fill these in, just because I'm just showing an example of how to fill out an order. Now, if it's a weight item, don't forget to put the weight of the item here, because that's going to affect the price. Okay, I don't think this is right. 96 pounds. Okay, so let's put 3.02 pounds for this one. Quantity 1. 1. Uh-oh. Oh, I see. Ha Okay. So generally, when you go to the next line, it'll generally automatically save that item if you tab ahead. So that's what we did. We tabbed ahead. Since I want to do it quickly, I'm just going to fill these all in. Usually, we do them one by one. Okay, and then I'm going to click the save button. Okay. Alright. As I said, if you do tab ahead past the weight category, then it's going to automatically save that item. Okay, so these are filled in. So then what will we do next? Okay, so we've got everything filled in as far as the weights. Now the weights you could read in the produce aisle, for instance, or if not, get the weights off the receipt after you check out. Okay, so we're all done. So now we're ready. We want to produce an invoice that the customer can pay for the item. So click on, you can do a couple things. Like right now, we can click on Calculate Order Totals if we just want to see what the total is. Okay, and the total will show down here. Now, one other thing I think we should make note of is a frequent thing will be, for instance, say you have a produce item, green grapes, and it's like $3.69. But say the price has changed. So we use actual pricing for produce and, deli and meats. So say the price has actually changed to $2.99. Okay, so we click on Save Set, and then that's going to change the price here. Okay, now the next step would be before you calculate the invoice, you need to update invoice prices. So what that's going to do is make sure that this price changes over here. So we're going to do update invoice prices. Okay, and that's going to make sure that any prices that you've changed are propagated to the actual price the customer pays here, so-called extended price. Then we could print the invoice. Okay, so we see the invoices here. Alright, you can also put notes in, they appear here. Also, it shows whether the item's on sale. Okay, and whether it's taxable. So here's the invoice. Okay, so now, how would you save this for presentation for the customer? Well, you would you would not print because presumably there's no printer connected to your device when you're out in the field, unless you had a portable printer, but that's not necessary. You would download this item to your computer. Now, right now I'm on a desktop, so I'm just gonna, actually, okay, downloads. So, okay, so I'll just download it here, and then usually I name it, something like, well, the customer's name, like this is B. Smith, and then you can name anything you want, and the date, which is 12/27/17, and it's a PDF file. So now this is going to be saved. So what you can do once it's downloaded to your computer, your Chromebook, or whatever you're using, is, you can open this up and it'll show in the browser. Now, even if you're offline when you go to the customer, you'll be able to show them this receipt in the browser. So we're at Mr. Smith's house. We say, okay, here's your invoice. It's $112.30. So then he can, present his credit card. Or rather, you'll probably, if he's an existing customer, have his card on file and you'll charge that. Or if you have a mobile terminal, you could slide the terminal, or else you'll charge this later. So then what's the next step? How will Mr. Smith get his invoice? And Mr. Smith will get his invoice here. Okay, we've got extra tabs here uploaded, so we don't need to have these tabs open. So Mr. Smith is going to have, be able to get his invoice by emailing it. So you click on Email Receipt, and then fill in fields, and then that's going to put your default from address in. Here you see that his invoice is ready because you see the name here, and then you want to click from the template. They're templates, so this template is called Urban Grocery Delivery System Invoice. Now you're going to change that in the template section. I'll show you how in a minute to your grocery delivery system. And then you just click, now this is going to go to Mr. Bill Smith, and we click Send Email. And then it's going to be sent from the Urban Grocery server directly to your customer. So, and then as far as doing the templates, you find the templates here, Edit Emails. So if you go here, you can go through these templates. Like this would be, I think it's template C, template D. So that was template E. So you could just change it to, your grocery delivery system invoice and your name and so your phone and so on. So that's how you can change the invoice. So that's how you send a receipt. And then, of course, if you do have a printer connected, you can print it. Now, what are some alternatives to that? Well, an alternative would be, if you're back at your office, just print the invoice. In other words, if a printer's connected, when you pull up the invoice, of course, one of the options is, you'll be able to print the invoice. Just click print, and if you have a printer connected, like I do right now, just print it out. So you can do that too. But that requires returning to Office, and you may or may not want to do that, depending on your logistics situation. Another possibility is, which I do not recommend, but we have left this in there as an older feature, you can print invoice with wait tags. So say you're not using a computer in your when you're shopping, or not using a device that's connected to the internet, then you could print this invoice out ahead of time, and then it has some extra lines here saying wait items. You could manually add in the wait items and any adjustments. That's not preferable. So I really recommend, you connect some device, use some device to fill your orders. A Chromebook works great. It's, and you can easily bring it to the store. And that way you could do live invoicing. That's such a good advantage of the system. And that way you're updating the prices live, so you don't have to go back and do it later when you get to the office. And you're also sending in the invoice live. And for 95% of the people, that's good enough. For those customers who say don't have a computer, they're elderly, or for some reason not using a computer, not a problem. I show them the invoice, and like 100% of the time, most of the time they say they don't even need it. But in any case, I'm in the habit of printing and mailing them the invoice. Or you could even give it to them next time, whatever. So that's how you can handle invoicing. And I think that pretty well covers it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. This is Richard Urban, and we've been going over how to send receipts / invoices